Okay, y'all, I'm going to demonstrate some views of the lower extremity. For the AP lower leg, the leg would be centered to the IR. The foot would be dorsal flexed. The femoral condyles would be parallel with the IR. And the central ray would be in the center point of the leg, and you would collimate 1 inch on all sides and 1.5 inches below the ankle and 1.5 inches above the knee to make sure you include both joints. For the lateral leg, turn to your side, Caden. Turn to your side. Thank you. Move that. For the lateral leg, it would also be centered to the IR. Foot would be dorsiflexed as well. You would make sure the femoral condyles are superimposed over each other to make sure it's in true lateral. So the patella would be perpendicular to the IR. Lift your leg up, Caden. Bend. Perfect. Okay. For this, you would also include both joints as well, and then the central ray would be pointed to the midpoint of the leg right here. The collimation will be the same, 1 inch on all sides, 1.5 inches above the knee and 1.5 below the ankle. Next, I'm going to do a foot. Lay on your back, Caden. On your back. Bend your knee up. One knee. Put your foot flat on this paper. Perfect. Okay. For the foot AP axial, the plantar surface of the foot would be flat against the IR. The midline of the foot would be parallel with the long axis of the IR as well. The central ray would be 10 degrees towards the heel, pointing at the third metatarsal, entering the base of the third metatarsal. And you would make sure to collimate 1 inch on all sides and then 1 inch above the medial malleolus. For the foot AP oblique, medial rotation, you would go as a regular rotation, and then you would turn in the foot until it made a 30-degree angle with the IR. Perfect. The central ray would be, again, at the base of the third metatarsal. Okay, and then for the last, perfect. Okay, for a lateral foot, the center of the foot would be the center of the IR. The plantar surface would be perpendicular to the IR. The leg and the foot is in lateral position, true lateral. You would know that because the patella is perpendicular to the table. The foot also needs to be dorsiflexed 90 degrees, and then the central ray would enter to the midpoint of the IR, entering the base of the third metatarsal as well. Okay, for the AP ankle, lay on your back, Caden. Point your foot up to the sky. This is an AP ankle. The ankle is in the AP position, the foot dorsiflexed. The CR would be perpendicular to the ankle joint, entering the midpoint between the malleoli. And then the collimation would be 1 inch on all sides, and make sure you go 8 inches up lengthwise. For the lateral ankle, turn to your side, Caden. Towards me. For the lateral ankle, you would center it to the IR. Dorsiflex your foot, point at 90 degrees, flat. Okay. The ankle is in a true lateral position. It would be dorsiflexed 90 degrees, and the CR angle would enter perpendicular to the ankle joint, entering the medial malleoli. And you would collimate the same, 1 inch on all sides, and make sure you do go 8 inches up above the malleoli. For the ankle AP oblique, medial rotation, get back on your back, babe. You would have the foot dorsiflexed as well, and it would be centered to the IR, placing the ankle in a right flexion. You would internally rotate the entire leg and foot together, flat, 45 degrees if it's able to be done. You would, the central ray would be perpendicular to the ankle joint, entering the midway between the malleoli. So it would enter right about there. You would collimate an inch on all sides, making sure you include 8 inches above. Okay? Now I'm going to do the AP hip. Come down. Lift your butt up. Okay, for the AP hip, you would need to make sure that the ASISs are equal distance to the table. And then you would rotate the affected extremity. So I'm going to make sure his right side is going to be the affected. So I would immediately rotate his foot 10 or 15 degrees right there. And what that does is that makes the femoral necks the central ray is half perpendicular to a point 2.5 inches distal between the ASIS and the pubic symphysis. So his ASIS is right here. So the central ray would be right here, technically on top of the femoral neck. Okay, so the central ray is perpendicular to the midpoint of the line between the ASIS and the pubic symphysis. So right here in the femoral neck, when you can feel that groove, that would be. For the lateral hip, frog leg lateral hip, can bring this knee up. Perfect. Flex your knee out. You can straighten out that leg. For the frog leg lateral hip, the flexed affected knee, and then the other is resting on the table. This CR would be perpendicular to the point midway between the ASIS and the pubic symphysis. Right here. Okay? For the cross table lateral, straighten out your leg, Caden. If this patient was unable to bend their knee, to bend their affected side, Caden, bend your knee for me, honey. The other knee. The other knee. And move it out the way. That way. Yeah, like that. Okay, so for the cross table lateral, the IR would be right here, parallel with the femoral neck, and then the central ray would be entered right between the midpoint of the IR. So the central ray would be perpendicular to the long axis of the femoral on your back. Now I'm going to do an AP knee. An AP knee. The center of the knee to the IR at the level 2.5 inches below the patellar apex. Okay, so the femoral condyles need to be parallel with the IR. And the central ray would 1.5 inches inferior to the patellar apex. And this could vary between the size of the patient, but because he's small, I wouldn't need to angle this. For the lateral knee, Caden, turn on your side, baby. Other side. Bend your knee. Not quite so much. There you go. Okay, for the lateral knee, the femoral condyles would need to be superimposed, making this a true lateral. The patient's knee should be flexed 20 to 30 degrees, not a full 90. And center the IR to the knee joint. And then you would angle, depending on the size of the patient, either 5 to 7 degrees. Entering the knee joint 1.5 to the medial epicondyles. Lay down, Caden. Lay down. Okay. And then lay on your back. For the knee AP oblique, lateral rotation, you would rotate the affected extremity until 45 degrees rotation if it's able. If the trauma's not too bad or whatever you're doing the x-ray for. So you would rotate it out towards this way. Center the knee to the IR. And then the central ray would also be in 1/2 inch below the apex of the patella. And then for the sunrise, bend your knee up, Caden. Hold that right there for me, hon. With this being the IR, I would have the central ray going right here, right below the patella, angling up, and that would be the sunrise. Thank you.